Listen, we live in a world that glorifies exhaustion. We celebrate the sleepless nights, the hustle, the grind, like pain is proof of passion. But what if I told you, true power doesn't come from suffering, it comes from strategy. It comes from mastering your own mind. Today, I'm going to give you 6 psychological secrets that will make you work harder, smarter, and stronger, without ever risking your peace. Listen, every great transformation begins not with action, but with identity. The secret to unstoppable hard work without chaos, burnout, or doubt lies in the mind's most powerful mechanism: belief. What you believe about yourself dictates everything you do, everything you chase, everything you become. Most people think success starts with habits, routines, or strategies, but all of that is surface level. True, lasting drive begins deeper. It begins when you stop saying, "I want to be disciplined," and start saying, "I am disciplined." Because when discipline becomes who you are, effort stops feeling forced. It becomes natural, automatic, effortless in its own rhythm. The brain is wired to stay consistent with identity, and once it believes something about you, it will fight to keep that truth alive. That's the real game. You don't change by doing more, you change by becoming more. Think about this: every time you call yourself lazy, unmotivated, or inconsistent, your brain listens, it records it, it believes you. So the next time you face a hard task, it will whisper, "You're not built for this." And you'll believe that too. Words are not harmless. They are scripts that your subconscious follows. You've been hypnotizing yourself your whole life, one self-doubt at a time. But here's the beauty. You can rewrite that script. You can plant a new identity. Start small. I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start. I'm someone who shows up no matter how I feel. Say it, repeat it, then prove it with action. Each small follow-through becomes a brick in your new identity. And one day you'll wake up realizing that discipline isn't something you force anymore. It's just who you are. That's not magic. That's neuroplasticity, the brain's power to rewire itself around what you repeatedly think, feel, and do. Most people chase motivation because it feels exciting. They wait for that perfect spark, that rush of energy to begin. But motivation is emotional weather. It changes every hour. Discipline is the climate. It stays. The problem is, we were taught to treat discipline like punishment, when in truth it's freedom. Discipline is not about control, it's about clarity. It's the promise you make to your future self that today's decisions won't be driven by fear, fatigue, or distraction. When you own discipline as your identity, you no longer depend on moods. You become someone who acts from choice, not circumstance. The question shifts from, "Do I feel like it?" to, "Is this who I am?" And when your answer is yes, the resistance loses its power. This is how athletes, artists, leaders, and creators rise. They don't chase passion every day, they build habits that protect it. Understand this: your brain loves patterns. It's constantly looking for proof of what it already believes. So if your internal dialogue says, "I'm not consistent," your brain will notice every slip, every failure, and ignore every success. But if you declare, "I am consistent," it begins to search for evidence to support that. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is called confirmation bias. And when used right, it's your secret weapon. You can use your mind's natural wiring to build a new reality. Tell yourself you're the kind of person who honors commitments. And you'll begin to notice every moment you follow through, every win, no matter how small, becomes evidence that you are becoming who you said you are. And with enough proof, the identity becomes permanent. You're no longer pretending, you're living it. That's how real transformation happens from T. He inside out. But here's the truth most people avoid. Identity isn't something you declare once. It's something you build. Moment by moment, decision by decision. You can't just say, "I'm disciplined," and expect your life to bend instantly. You must turn that belief through repeated alignment between words and actions. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence expands. Every time you break one, it shrinks. So start small. Keep your promises so tiny they're impossible to break. Wake up 5 minutes earlier. Do one extra rep. Write one more line. Consistency, not intensity, rewires identity. Over time, those small wins stack up, and suddenly the person who used to struggle with discipline has become someone who thrives in it. You don't even remember when it shifted. You just look back one day and realize your old self is gone. And the most beautiful part, when discipline becomes identity, freedom follows. Because you no longer spend energy fighting yourself. You stop negotiating with excuses. You don't need constant pep talks, playlists, or quotes to push through. You simply act, because that's what you do. And that calm, grounded certainty, that's power. It's not loud, not chaotic. It's quiet, unshakable confidence, the kind that doesn't scream, "I will make it," but whispers, "I already am." When you reach that level, work no longer drains you, it fulfills you. The line between effort and ease blurs, because everything you do flows from authenticity. This is the state where progress accelerates naturally, where others see hard work, but you feel peace because you've stopped fighting the current. You've become it. So remember this, you don't need to chase motivation. You don't need to fight for discipline. You only need to decide who you are and act like it until it's true. The hardest worker isn't the one who never stops moving. It's the one who moves with purpose, identity, and peace. Stop trying to force yourself into greatness. Become the person who lives it. That's how you win, every day, every season, every lifetime. Hard work feels heavy when it's chained to struggle, when every task feels like climbing uphill with no air left to breathe. But here's the psychological secret most people miss. You can teach your brain to crave hard work instead of fearing it. The human mind isn't built to reject effort. It rejects pain without reward. The difference is everything. Every time you push yourself and feel no sense of accomplishment, your brain associates work with suffering. But when you tie effort to reward, when you celebrate every step forward, your brain starts chasing that feeling. It begins to haunt the grind. Because at the end of every action, it knows something good is coming. A sense of pride, a tiny win, a taste of victory. That's how you flip the script. You're not working hard because you have to. You're working hard because it feels good to grow. We're wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. It's biology. But pleasure doesn't just mean comfort. The brain's dopamine system, which drives motivation, doesn't actually reward you for the outcome. It rewards you for the progress. Every time you move closer to your goal, dopamine fires. That's nature's way of saying, keep going. The problem? We've trained ourselves to only celebrate the finish line. We ignore the climb. We say, I'll be proud when I get there, not realizing that withholding reward kills momentum. The people who never burn out, the ones who keep going no matter what, have mastered the art of rewarding progress, not perfection. They don't wait for the world to applaud. They build their own applause in silence. Because every bit of effort deserves energy back, even if it's just a deep breath and a whispered, I did that. Think about how kids learn. You don't motivate a child by waiting until they run a marathon to say, good job. You cheer when they take one step. You celebrate when they fall and try again. That constant low up of effort and reward trains the brain to enjoy learning, not just results. But somewhere along the way, adults forget that. We turn life into a checklist, not a journey. We tell ourselves we're not enough until we hit some invisible benchmark. And in that gap between doing and deserving, our motivation dies. The truth is, you can reignite it anytime you choose. All you need to do is start rewarding effort again. Smile after a task. Reflect on your growth. Give yourself credit for showing up when you didn't feel like it. That's not arrogance, it's brain training. You're teaching your mind that effort equals pride, not pain. There's another layer to this, emotion. Your emotional response to hard work determines whether you repeat it. If your brain links effort with tension, you'll avoid it subconsciously. If it links effort with satisfaction, you'll chase it automatically. That's why top performers have rituals of celebration. They don't just rest when they win, they recognize themselves. That recognition strengthens their identity, solidifies their confidence, and builds momentum for the next challenge. Every time you finish a task and give yourself a small reward, a walk, a smile, a silent acknowledgement, you're reinforcing a loop of resilience. Over time, your brain stops asking, "Do I have to?" and starts saying, "Let's do it again." The psychological key isn't to work harder, it's to make your brain want to work harder. Now, understand this doesn't mean you lie to yourself. You don't celebrate empty effort, you celebrate meaningful movement. You reward actions that align with your goals, because the brain can tell the difference between empty praise and authentic progress. The magic happens when the reward matches the challenge. You finish a project, take a moment of reflection. You hit the gym, look in the mirror and own that pride. You follow through on a promise, pause and let that satisfaction sink in. Most people skip that pause, they rush into the next task. But that silence, that moment of acknowledgement, is where growth locks in. That's when your brain says, "Yes, this is worth it." And when it believes that, effort stops draining you, it fuels you. You are not supposed to live chasing motivation like a mirage. You're supposed to create it from within. That's what rewiring your reward system does. It makes motivation internal, not circumstantial. You no longer depend on praise, recognition, or validation. You generate energy through self-respect. Every task becomes a transaction of power, effort in, pride out. And soon, hard work isn't a burden, it's your comfort zone. Because nothing feels better than knowing you're honoring your own potential. That's the hidden strength behind every consistent achiever. You think they're superhuman, but they've simply mastered their wiring. They've turned effort into emotion and discipline into desire. When you reach that point, you stop asking, "When will I be done?" and start asking, "What can I do next?" That's not burnout. That's brilliance. So remember this. Your brain doesn't care about the finish line. It cares about the feeling. Feed it the right feeling, and it will follow you anywhere. Reward every step, honor your effort, and teach yourself to love the climb as much as the summit. The real secret to hard work isn't struggle. It's self-celebration. Turn effort into pleasure, and success will chase you. Not because you forced it, but because your mind has learned that progress feels like peace. Logic starts the work, but emotion finishes it. Every single goal you've ever set started in your head, but whether you achieved it depended on what lived in your heart. You can make plans, design routines, set alarms, write lists, but none of it matters if you don't feel your purpose burning inside you. The mind is rational, it calculates, it organizes, it strategizes. But the heart is the engine. It's what gets you up when you're exhausted, what keeps you moving when no one's watching, what pushes you through the noise when life hits back. That's why the people who never quit aren't the smartest or the strongest. They're the ones emotionally anchored to their vision. They've built their why so deep into their bones that giving up isn't even an option. Their emotions aren't obstacles, they're fuel. When you attach emotion to your goal, you're giving your mind a reason to care. Think of it like fire. It doesn't matter how well the wood is stacked if there's no spark. Emotion is that spark. Ask yourself, why do I want this? What does it mean to me? Who will I become if I achieve it? Don't just think, feel the answers. Feel the pride of finishing something you started. Feel the freedom of living the life you dream about. Feel the relief of finally being who you were meant to be. Your brain doesn't just respond to logic, it responds to vivid emotion. When you visualize your goals in full color, when you can taste a victory, hear the applause, or sense the peace, it stops being a distant dream and starts becoming a psychological command. Your mind begins to act like it's already real, and that's when magic starts to happen. You're no longer chasing a goal. You're aligning with it. But emotion can't just be positive. It has to be personal. If your motivation only lives on the surface, it fades as soon as life gets hard. That's why so many people start strong and end weak. They're motivated by aesthetics, validation, or temporary excitement. The emotion that lasts is rooted in identity and meaning. It's not, I want to look successful. It's, I want to prove to myself that I can build something powerful. It's not, I want people to notice me. It's, I want to inspire someone who feels invisible. Real drive is born from depth. It comes from moments of truth. Times you failed, been doubted, been underestimated, and you decide to turn that pain into purpose. That's when emotion transforms into obsession, not because you're chasing something external, but because your goal now represents who you refuse to stop being. Emotion also creates resilience. Logic crumbles under pressure, emotion absorbs it and transforms it. When things go wrong, and they always do, it's not your plan that saves you, it's your reason. When the excitement fades, when progress slows, when failure whispers in your ear, logic tells you to stop. Emotion says, no, we keep going. The emotional anchor is what pulls you through the storm. It's the image of your family, the memory of your past, the vision of your future, all wrapped into one pulse of energy that reminds you why you started. That's why it's not enough to just know your why. You have to feel it every day. Write it down, speak it out loud, visualize it until it feels tangible. Let it sting, let it move you, let it wake something inside you. Because emotion is not weakness, it's power. It's the force that turns I wish into I will. Now here's the psychological truth most people never realize. The body follows the emotion you feed it. If you wake up and feel unmotivated, your posture slumps, your energy drops, and your brain follows. But if you deliberately create emotion, stand taller, breathe deeper, speak power into your morning, your physiology shifts your psychology. You can generate emotion at will. Athletes do it before games, performers do it before shows, and you can do it before anything that matters. Play music that ignites you. Move your body until you feel alive. Speak your intention until you believe it. You're not waiting for emotion to appear, you're creating it. Once that energy flows, logic becomes sharper, focus becomes effortless, and effort feels natural. Emotion isn't the opposite of discipline, it's the foundation of it. And here's the most important part. Emotion must evolve as you do. What drives you today might not drive you tomorrow, and that's okay. The goal isn't to cling to one feeling, it's to stay connected to meaning. Growth changes why. Our perspective, your values, your desires, let it. Revisit your why often, redefine it, expand it. The emotion that once made you start may not be the one that helps you finish. But as long as your heart stays tied to something real, your momentum never dies. That's how you build lifelong passion, by staying emotionally fluent with your own evolution. You stop working just to achieve, and you start working because it fulfills you. That's when life stops feeling like a checklist and starts feeling like purpose. So remember this, emotion is not your enemy, it's your engine. Logic can map the route, but only emotion can drive you there. When your why hits your soul harder than your fear, no obstacle can stop you. Stop chasing empty motivation. Build emotional anchors so deep that even the worst storm can't move you. Because when your work is connected to your heart, you don't burn out, you burn brighter. That's not luck. That's power. That's alignment. That's how you rise. Rest isn't weakness, it's a weapon. We live in a world that glorifies exhaustion, that measures worth by how busy you look, that celebrates burnout like it's a badge of honor. But the truth is, burnout doesn't prove your passion. It exposes your imbalance. Real strength isn't about going non-stop. It's about knowing when to push and when to pause. The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones who never rest. They're the ones who rest intentionally. Because recovery isn't time lost, it's time invested. Every muscle, every mind, every ambition needs moments of stillness to rebuild, recharge, and rise again stronger. If you never stop to breathe, you'll suffocate under your own effort. The art of working hard without breaking down lies in mastering the rhythm between effort and ease. When you rest deliberately, you're not stepping away from growth, you're fueling it. Your brain, like your body, performs in cycles. It needs downtime to consolidate memory, to process ideas.